Guys, the PC guy here with the news in tech and gaming for the week, and we're starting off this new segment with Intel's new CPU launches for laptops and mobile devices. Ice Lake had already been released earlier this month, and now we're getting Coffee Lake GPUs, which are 14nm, while Ice Lake was 10nm. Now the difference is in the manufacturing process, as you might know if you follow tech industry news, and that difference in manufacture usually means better performance, better efficiency, along other things. Here's a full-on breakdown of the Comet Lake processors that just got released. They go all the way from 6 cores, 12 threads, all the way down to 2 cores, 4 threads. So there is plenty of diversity for whatever your tastes are in laptop CPUs, and obviously the energy consumption and the performance scales along with how far up the scale you go. As far as comparing Ice Lake and Comet Lake, this is a brief breakdown of the difference between the two. The most prevalent difference is the 10nm versus 14nm versions. As you can see, the differences in core counts and thread counts are also different, with Ice Lake, the 10nm version, having less cores, less threads, also less turbo frequency, although, well, they both support Wi-Fi 6, so that is an improvement at the very least. Something to keep in mind is that although the frequency is lower on Ice Lake, the IPC, or instructions per core, has been improved by 15 to 18% as far as I read, so that kind of balances out the difference in the frequency that you see. I'll be quite honest, I have not been able to dive very deeply into the performance and reviews and all that stuff for these CPUs in particular, so I will withhold from making an opinion on how worthwhile they are and if they're good or not, so I'm not going to comment on that. I do know that they are supposed to, some of them have improved graphics, integrated graphics, others still have the older version of the integrated graphics that Intel used before. Some are 10nm, some are 14nm, so it is a bit of a confusing launch. They all launched together in the space of a month, so I have not been able to go very deeply as far as performance and value goes, but here's the launch, it happened. I'll just present you guys with the facts, and then maybe I'll comment later in another video on how worthwhile they are or are not. The hype train for the PS5 keeps gaining steam, this time propelled by a tweet from Komachi about the Oberon, which is a GPU discovered that is supposed to be the GPU that will be fueling the PS5. Now, it is claiming that it will be able to achieve 2 GHz performance, as you can see, so that would put it on, well, comparing it to PC specs, it would mean that it would be performing about as well as an RTX 2080. Now, considering that the PS5 will be shipping out, we don't know pricing obviously, and it might be a bit more expensive than the previous iterations of the PlayStation consoles. It probably won't be more than let's say between the 400 and 600 euros or dollars for a console, and considering that an RTX, you probably won't get it for sale, a 2080 I mean, for anything less than like 800 euros slash dollars, if you're lucky, then that would be a compelling argument that would make the PlayStation very appealing. However, I will refrain from jumping on that hype train until the console is actually revealed, we actually have the specs, and actually see it in practice. Because I don't doubt that it will be a massive improvement over the PS4. I mean, after all, it has new and improved GPUs and CPUs, it will have SSDs. That all is going to boost the performance massively, and I don't doubt that we will be able to achieve 1080p high refresh rate, maybe 1440p or even 4K at 60 FPS and 30 FPS or something respectively. I doubt you'll be seeing 4K 60 FPS unless it really is optimized for the console architecture and with some graphical sacrifices. However, as good as a PC, I very much doubt that. However, I will withhold my judgment until the console is out. No, those estimations that I just did about what it could achieve, they were not based on any specific facts. They are based purely on the fact that of the price point of the consoles that are expected to have and what you can expect for that price point in terms of current technology. Because if you could get, with let's say 600 euros, you could get equipment capable of running 4K 60 Hz or 1440p, 144 Hz or something like that, then the PCs would have that as well. Consoles are not this magical box that makes everything run so much better, so much more optimized for much cheaper price points. So I very much doubt that the console will do more than that based on the price point and what that money can buy in terms of equipment. But we'll see when it comes out. New Intel chip has been spotted on Geekbench. It is an 18 core part, 36 threads, so hyperthreading enabled, with 2.2 GHz base clock and 3.2 GHz base clock. Boost clock, I apologize. And while it is beating the previous Intel's 9980XE by around 11%. However, how does it seem to fare about with Ryzen? Comparing to the Ryzen 3950X, it does not do so well. The Ryzen chip still beats it by 12% in multi-core scenarios, as well as 9% in single-core scenarios. So Ryzen still on top, as well as we not having any idea yet how this chip will be priced. The 9980XE had an MSRP of $1,700, so considering that the 3950X from AMD is a $750 part and beats it, how will Intel price this one? Because this $750 part from AMD also beats the new part. So how are they going to exactly price it? Either they will do a massive price drop and they'll be having to price it around the 700. Well, ideally lower than the 700 really, because it does not perform as well as the Ryzen part. Or they will have to not sell much of them, because let's face it, it does not perform to the price that previous iterations of Intel's AGDT parts were performing back when Ryzen and AMD were not in the race. One advantage might be that people are used to Intel being on top, and they might have some sort of, well, misguided, and I say misguided because it's silly to have loyalty to a company. You should have loyalty to the values and performance, to the value, not values, I mean, to how good it is for that price it is. That's what you should aim for. Going for a company specifically because it's the company that you're used to, you usually won't get the best deals because things change. Like now they have changed massively with AMD versus Intel, obviously. So that's probably that might get them some sales. But as far as pure performance goes, it does not seem like there will be a very good, compelling argument to go for Intel if you are going for a chip in this price range and this performance range, especially if Intel does not pull a massive stunt as far as pricing goes, but we'll have to see about that when the CPU is revealed and launched. Silicon Lottery, a site that is known for binning CPUs and testing them and selling them for a premium, obviously, at their bin state, has revealed their statistics on the Ryzen 3000 series that they have been starting to bin and sell. As you can see, a lot of overclocking is not something that you're going to get when you are buying a Ryzen chip. They all, well, as far as with FEX2 enabled and no offsets or anything like that, they reach a max of 4.3 GHz with the 3800X, 4.2 GHz with the 3900X, and 4.15 with the 3700X. And this is only the top 20% and 6% for the Ryzen 3900X specifically. So these chips are not amazing overclockers. Something to keep in mind is that these chips, although they already are sold very pushing the limits of what they can give, so the overclock is not great, there have been cases where people with the via different means, either improving the cooling or actually undervolting them in some cases, have been able to squeeze some performance out of them. This is because the way the chips, the precision boost overclock goes, the automatic precision boost overclock, it works much like a GPU overclock does, which is if it has power headroom and temperature headroom, if it's not too hot, and if it has power available not at its limits, it will boost as far as it can until the temperature gets too high or the voltage too low. So what this means is that if you run a cooler system, it will boost further. Therefore, if you undervolt it, it will heat up less, so you have more room to boost without getting to that temperature problem. So it is a bit more like overclocking a GPU than overclocking a CPU like we are used to, but it will take some time for most of us to get used to the new way to overclocking at the most of our Ryzen processors. Obviously, people that are a bit more experienced will do it a lot more easier and will already know what they have to do, but with some research, I'm sure all of us can squeeze some extra performance out of horizons. Nvidia has just launched a GPU driver with quite a few new features and improvements that, well, it's a bit a step beyond what you normally see in a normal driver update. The new driver, with numbers given by Nvidia mind you, claims up to 20 to 25% improvement in Apex Legends and Forza Horizon at different resolutions, but anyway, and up nearly 10% in Battlefield 5, Strange Brigade and World War Z also tested at different resolutions with different GPUs. These numbers are Nvidia's, so take them with a grain of salt. You might not see them in actual real life. They also seem to include a neutral low latency response time reduction for their NVIDIA control panel. It's an option in the control panel. You have to actually go and enable it, and it is clearly a response to AMD's anti-lag feature from their new GPUs, the 5700 and 5700 XT, that already come with that included. They also have included a beta feature called integer scaling for the Turing GPUs only, and they are also responding with this to Intel, which was working on this technology specifically for their next generation, for their first discrete GPUs next year in 2020, which are to be expected to, well, bring a third player to the GPU market. So obviously Nvidia is trying to one up all of them and have as much features as possible in their own lineup. As for what integer scaling is, you can see that when playing blocky pixel games like this, that you actually want to see the blockiness in the pixel, the pixelation. With the older drivers, it looked a bit blurry sometimes, and with the new integer scaling, you actually can see how much more defined it is and how much blocky it seems, which is really the point in this game, so it is a welcome addition. As far as gaming news goes, the highlight is definitely for World of Warcraft Classic. It will be launching this week on the 27th. Actually, it has a little timer back here at the bottom, and it is, well, to put it in a simple way, it is World of Warcraft as it was back in 2004 when it released. It is has missing a lot of features from the more recent iterations of WoW, like the latest expansions and such, and it's supposed to be as close to an experience as the old times as it was back then. I made a video earlier this week if you're interested in checking out what those differences are, so feel free to check it. And it will, well, if you have a World of Warcraft subscription, you can use it both for Classic and the retail normal version. Otherwise, if you get one, you will also be able to play both of the games with just one subscription. So for those of us that already play it, it's basically a free edition. Like I said, it is a very different gameplay. Check the video for more details, but it's supposed to be a more slow, more RPG type of gameplay, with more focus on community and team play and cooperating with other players, and a bit less soloing, which is, well, kind of a theme of World of Warcraft these days. Now, this has been the highlights for the week. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Drop a like or subscribe if you enjoy this content. Otherwise, let us know what you would like to cover in the future. This has been Epic PC Guy. Have fun in the next week, and I'll see you guys later.